Hello, my lovelies. Well, here we have a reading for Taurus for the month of March 2019. I do hope that you are well. There's a huge shift for you guys, and you might be feeling a little bit. I heard the word legless, but not. I don't think they meant drunk. It was more like your feet have come from beneath you, so. It's like world shaking, and did the earth move for you? And the meaning of this is that during the month of March, your world is going to be rocked. Well, it's not just for March; it's for the next 7 years. On the 6th of March, the planet Uranus, which is one of the outer planets, is shifting signs. So for the last 7 years, it's sat in the sign of Aries, which is fire, and it is going to move into your sign, Taurus, for the next 7 years. Now, it's already did it a little bit earlier on last year for a few months, and then it retrograded back into Aries. But as of the 6th of March, it will move into Taurus, as I say, for 7 years. So you might have been feeling this already, having had a little taste of it earlier on last year. And for an awful lot of Taurians, those that I've been doing readings for, and they're the ones who've been at the top of the list for having private readings. So you have been feeling this already for some time now. And for some people, it's been a major slowing down of feeling perhaps stuck in the mud, or frustrated that things haven't moved for you as you would like them to do. And because this energy is so enormous, it is huge upheaval. It is shifting you out of your comfort zone, mainly Taurians, but it's going to affect all of us. So if you've had haven't known where to place yourself, especially in the last 2.5 years, new pathways are opening up, new doorways are opening. Doors that were locked and bolted and padlocked are now going to fling themselves open. So for an awful lot of you lovely Taurians, this may feel daunting. It may feel, what on earth is happening, and literally on earth, because Taurus is the earth. It rules the earth, and Uranus is a planet that shakes things up. So it's all about surprises and revolution and technology, the future, electricity. Uranus also rules earthquakes, and so when Uranus was in Aries, we had some volcanoes erupting and some earthquakes. So there may be possibilities of that, and not just on the planet, but within you. So you might be feeling this eruptive energy surging through you in these coming months and years, but it's shifting stuff out of you that's been stagnant, that is, when we say we have a middle-aged spread, our spare tire. So if any of you have got that, and Taurians do like their grub, this will be shifting that area of stuckness, of stubbornness, of acceptance that things can't change. So this huge change is coming in, which is going to possibly disrupt many areas of your lives. But it isn't all bad. No, not at all. It isn't all bad. It's helping you to see life in a totally different way. Now, one of the things that it can do is bring an awakening, like an epiphany, and you suddenly having like a spiritual awakening, And because it's so totally out of your, not just your comfort zone, but your belief systems, it may take a little while for you to get used to. And also those around you may not recognize you anymore, because suddenly you are coming out with new concepts, new ways of seeing life. You may have visions, you may have strange dreams, you may have synchronicities, you bump into certain people, and you just keep hearing the same thing over and over again, maybe told in a slightly different way. But this is wake up, wake up, wake up. It's time to wake up. And because the sign of Taurus likes to take its time, likes to plan long term, well, Uranus is about the future. So this energy that's coming in, some of you might be upset by, because you like things slow, steady, routine. And yes, you can keep some of that, but it needs to polish up. It needs a... I'm being shown like a hotel corridor, say in the 1920s or 30s, where when one went to bed, one puts one's shoes outside for them to be clean, so one could have nice clean shoes in the morning. The reason they're showing me this is you cannot expect to do anybody else to do your cleaning for you. And because it's shoes, it's feet, this is where you place your feet in life from now on, especially for the next 7 years. So if you don't mind getting your feet dirty or your feet wet, or you won't be tippy-toeing. This is not the energy of tippy-toeing anywhere. It's more of placing your dirty great size nines so that they make an impact on the earth. That's what I'm hearing. It's about making an impact. It's not stomping. It's not ranting and railing. It's opening up to your divine life purpose. That's what Uranus is going to do. It's going to wake everybody up to their divine life purpose, and because it's coming into your sign, this could jiggle things up for you in a most unexpected way. So there may be, for some of you, because it's about earth shifts, you may shift where you live. So there can be a new home, a new abode, a new teepee, a new tribe. And I feel that for some of you, you've been looking for that. You've been looking for a soul tribe. You've been looking for those whose arms are ready to embrace you in an unconditional way. Because when Uranus changes signs, it shakes everything up of how we have lived our lives. So the patterns that we've played, the old paradigms, the old belief systems, and because they won't serve many of us anymore, it's taking a long, hard look at how you've lived your life. And if you have lived your life by what other people have told you to do, to think, to believe, that's changing. And so you may have it'll be eye-opening. It'll be so different to how you were brought up, how your parents were brought up, how your grandparents were brought up, because this is, when they talk about the new age, this is the new age of Uranus, and it's going to shake up an awful lot of things on the planet. So if you are prepared for that and can embrace it joyfully rather than fear it or so I don't like change, I don't want things to change, I'm comfortable where I am. Well, the universe is going to make sure that you're uncomfortable and you're out of your comfort zone to bring you something even better. And a lot of you may think, well, how can that be? And it's because we've carried these old belief systems and old patterning of perhaps poverty consciousness, perhaps of unworthiness, and not and sometimes our upbringing places a veils over our eyes of what we can achieve in our lives, what we can manifest in our lives. So this is ripping away those veils. It's ripping. I know when I've had some people come to me, clients for a treatment or a reading in the past, they've said, I feel like I'm going mad. And it feels like I've had a layer of skin ripped off me. And I said, no, you're not going mad, you're just waking up. And because you feel so raw, you feel so vulnerable, you feel so tender, it takes a while for that, your being, to adjust to this new way of being. Now, not only is Uranus moving into your sign on the 6th of March, we also have a new moon on that day in the sign of Pisces. And also, pesky old Mercury is going retrograde for 3 weeks in the sign of Pisces. So, this is a bit like a the saying, water softener. You know, when we put our togs in the washing machine, if you put some fabric conditioner and water softener, they come out not only smelling lovely, but nice and soft and easy to wear. And because Mercury is all about communication, when it's going backwards in the sign of Pisces, this is about softening the event of this change of signs of Uranus going into Taurus. So it shouldn't be just like a sledgehammer. It should be a little more subtle than that. Now, Mercury rules communication. So when it goes backwards, things can get lost. Words can get misconstrued. Messages can be garbled. So check very carefully what you've sent in a text. Read whatever is sent to you in a text or an email 3 or 4 times. Print it out if you can. If you're phoning anybody, make a note of the day and the time and who you spoke to. Take down their name and what you discussed. Because Mercury can, as I say, garble things. And if you have to catch up with someone again later on with the same issue, if you've got written proof of what occurred, then you're far better off than the other person. So I've chosen some oracle cards for you, and these very interesting ones came out. First of all, the angel card, education. So there's a teacher angel, and there's 3 little ones sitting in a classroom. So for some of you, this might be a time of going back to school, learning something new, or picking up and say you've already learned something, it might be going and doing the next level or the next stage of something that you've already learned. But because this is 3 little angels here, the education that's coming to you may be of a celestial sort. So you may, as I say, if you've had an upbringing with a certain belief system or religion, this might be a wake-up call to seeing things in a spiritual sense, and having certain events happen to you that stimulate you to want to explore a little bit more. And then the self-mastery card, funnily enough, communication. So, or miscommunication, as I say, because Mercury's going retrograde. So Mercury is the messenger of the gods. So So, as I said with regard to education and communication, if the gods or divine or infinite mind wants to bring you some information, then it's definitely coming to you during this Mercury retrograde period. And when we go through this, it's going over stuff. It's revisiting certain scenarios in our lives. It's looking at the fine details. So when Mercury finally moves direct again, you will have more information to hand. Now, Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year for a period of 3 weeks or so each time, but it can link with a previous Mercury retrograde, not just this year, but from years ago. And it can bring stuff from the past or the distant past back into the now. So you may find that people, situations show up again that you thought were long gone or long lost. So you may get a sense of a big surprise, and Uranus is about surprise. So you may find that there are huge surprises show up in your life. Mostly good ones, I would say, mostly good ones. If there are any that are a bit iffy, again, going over the detail, having another look, check your paperwork and your files, etc. But I would say for the most part, whatever it is that shows up again for you is for you to have a look at. If it resonates with you, that's lovely. You can move forward with it. If it doesn't feel that it fits anymore, then it's just popped in, said hello, and off it goes, never to return. The animal that you have with you for the month of March, and this is lovely, it keeps showing up. Like for the Aries, we had the hummingbird, and I think you might have had this one last month as well, the deer. And she's beautiful. So she's number 4. So 4 is stability and security and grounding. And that's what Taurus likes, stability and being grounded. So if you've feeling like you're, as I say, the rug's being pulled from underneath you, part of you needs to enjoy that ride, and it could be like that slow motion thing where you haven't quite come back down to earth yet. And because Uranus is the sky god, it may need you to go up into the skies or the heavens to have that epiphany or to have that awakening, because then when you come back down, you can ground what it is you've experienced. Because the story of Deer is that she had such a pure heart and she was so full of love. Great Spirit called to her to visit at the top of the mountain. So the little deer trotted up the mountain. Now there's a great big ogre jumped out because he didn't want her to speak directly to Great Spirit, and he wanted to frighten her, and he was really ugly and frightening. But because she has such a pure heart and she felt such love for all of humanity and all of nature, she just beamed love at him, and she said, "Oh, let me pass." And the ogre tried again to frighten her and stop her reaching Great Spirit. And she said, "Let me pass." And he had to let her pass, and in doing so, he shrunk to the size of a walnut. So if there is anything on your pathway to being called by Great Spirit, to communicate, to learn something new, to have the epiphany, to have that awakening experience, don't let anything step in your way or prevent you from achieving that journey. And over this next 7 years, this journey will take you to places both externally and internally that you've never ever experienced before. And it's about finding that gentleness within you, but also self-love. And when you tap into that field of the heart, then everything around you is touched by that love, that unconditional love. And just watch this space, what shows up for you. It's a beautiful, beautiful energy. And for it to keep showing up in the readings, it's touching an awful lot of people. So with a little mini card, it says, be gentle with yourself and offer kindness to all living things. So if there's someone around you or a situation around you that's been frustrating you or getting you riled, see their point of view. It's their job on a soul level to come in and piss you off. It could be a soul contract that you have with them. And they've agreed and you've agreed before you got here, but I'm going to come in when you're 35 and I'm 57 and I'm going to really piss you off. And so that'll be the lesson learned. So once we realise that everything is just a play, a game, then they've done their job. You can tick that one off your karma list and move forward into lovely new beginnings. Now, I've chosen an Ascended Master card for you, and the one that came out is fertility, or as my granny would say, fertility. So this is the god Pan. And so the feminine side of this would be the Empress in the tarot, all about fertility, and the Empress is Venus, and Venus rules Taurus. So whether you're male or female, there is a huge energy of fertility coming in around you because of this enormous planetary shift. And Pan, he was a Greek god, and he was not very pretty. In fact, he was rather ugly, and he fell in love with a nymph at first sight, and her name was Syrinx. But she didn't return his affection. She didn't like him at all. And the little energies around her turned him into reeds. And as the wind blew across the reeds, it made a beautiful sound. So we know of it as the panpipes. And so this energy of fertility that is around you, and because of the energetic shifts, it's looking at things in our lives. So the shadow side of things, so those parts of ourselves that we don't like, that we think are ugly, that are unattractive, and when we do that, we project it to other people, so other people don't find us attractive, etc. And how we can now dispel that and move beyond it, because that's an old pattern again, which no longer serves us. So because of this amazing planetary shift, it's how we look at ourselves, recognize that sometimes we project stuff onto other people, and they'll play the game again, they'll play the part that we expect of them, and realizing, oh, that was Act 1, Scene 3, so now I'm going to Act 2, and the scenes are going to be very, very different. So over the next 7 years, it's like rewriting a whole new script. So you can bring in the actors, you can bring in the sets, and all the designs. It's putting your stamp onto your life and removing the stamps that other people have put onto it. So any expectations others have had of you, any patterns of pleasing others, or doing a certain job or living a certain way because you will be accepted for it, or it please members of your family because they've all done it this way. So it's a big turnaround, and you're going to shock a lot of people, but I think you shock yourself first. But what's going to come out of it is something so astonishingly wonderful. The next part of your life, or the second act of your life, it deserves an Oscar. That's what I'm hearing. It deserves an Oscar. So we're going to finish with a well-being card from Esther and Jerry Hicks. I've shuffled and spread them out, but I haven't chosen one yet. So we'll see which one wants to come up for you lovely Venusians. Ooh, that's beautiful. Right. So if you can see, it's a little girl looking up at a butterfly. When I appreciate, I feel so very good. So I've done a video at the weekend about gratitude you might like to watch, and that might give you an idea of the attitude of gratitude. So when we not only appreciate what we see outside of us, so a beautiful sunny day, or hearing some bird song, or somebody lets you in traffic, you know, or at the supermarket, rather than railing at people, when we do a little act of random kindness, you'd be surprised how it comes back to you, not just tenfold, sometimes 100-fold. So just by stopping sometimes and listening, and as I say, bird song, and you don't really want to rush around, and it's paying attention to things. So the back of the card says, appreciation is the secret to life. Become a person who appreciates and you will thrive. You will fulfill your reason for being. So whether it be, going back to the hotel corridor, the shoe shine person, or whether it's you just give a smile to someone, a stranger, or you just say thank you to anybody. But when you say thank you to the universe, thank you for this beautiful day. Because before you get out of bed in the morning, if you're not feeling thankful, if you think, oh God, it's going to be one of those days again, that so-and-so in the office is going to be playing up and I'm going to have a grotty old day, switch that around. And before you get out of bed, say, oh, thank you for this wonderful day. I'm going to have the best conversation with so-and-so today, and I'm going to achieve more today than I have done in a very long time. And I'm just so grateful for the clear roads. I'm so grateful for my little car that gets me to and from wherever it is I want to go. And if you're working towards a creative project, or a new job, or you're thinking about a new relationship, appreciate it now. Say thank you for my fabulous new job. Thank you for my really great bosses and colleagues. And also thank your higher self and your guides and your angels and your guardians for all of their help, for all of their support, for all of their encouragement, for all of the fun that comes with it. And you'll be astonished at what actually shows up in your lives. So I wish you an amazing March. My goodness me, there's an awful lot going on for you. If any of you would like a private reading, we can delve deeply into the issues that you have around you, and I can channel through some guidance and insights for you. All the details are in the box below. I always like to thank all those lovely darlings who've donated to my channel. That really does help me with putting this out for you. So until April, I wish you all well, and I wish you lots of love. Bye.